Welcome back to WWH. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and on today's episode of Ringside Review, we're looking at one of the most bizarre and outlandish movies ever covered on this channel by far. That movie is called Color Out of Space. Released in 2019, Color Out of Space was directed by Richard Stanley, who also co-wrote the film. It stars Nicolas Cage and even features Tommy Chong as the eccentric Ezra. Something else cool. Among the producers of this movie is Elijah Wood, Frodo. Color Out of Space was based on a short story written by H.P. Lovecraft, which explains why this film is so odd. But it absolutely makes for some good visuals and generates a very interesting performance from Nicolas Cage. I mean, he's known for his overacting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, Nick Cage is always money in my book. I like how he gets all intense right at the end of the sentence!
Well, it works in Color Out of Space. I'm curious if you've ever seen this movie before or read the story. Let me know down in the comments. But that's enough chit-chat. Let's head down to the ring and get this show started. Following his wife Teresa's mastectomy, Nathan Gardner relocates his family, including their kids Lavinia, Benny, and Jack, to his deceased father's farm. Soon after settling in, a vividly hued meteorite careens onto their property close to the well. The subsequent day, hydrologist Ward Phillips, conducting a survey for a dam project, accompanied by the town's mayor and sheriff from nearby Arkham, visit to inspect the meteor. Nathan and Lavinia then observe some peculiar occurrences surrounding the meteor, culminating in its abrupt vanishing.
How can something that big just disappear?
I don't know, but I'm glad.
Ward, noticing an oily sheen in the groundwater, conducts tests revealing a startling correlation with the meteor's color. Immediately concerned, he promptly warns the Gardners against drinking the water before going to nearby neighbor Ezra to warn him of the same. Ezra is basically a squatter who lives on their land. He's played by Tommy Chong and, well, he's Tommy Chong. He spouts conspiracy theories and smokes a lot of weed. His cat is also missing, but he's not overly concerned about it. Ward says he'll keep an eye out for her, but Ezra isn't sure he'll recognize her, hinting that he kind of knows what's going on here.
I will let you know if I see G-Spot.
You might see her, but I don't think you'll recognize her.
While making dinner, Teresa inexplicably cuts two of her own fingers off.
You're from WARK News.
Daddy!
Nathan rushes her to the hospital while Benny attends to the alpacas. He doesn't return until late at night, claiming that time hadn't even passed for him.
Look, I know it sounds weird, but I kind of got lost out there. Like 1 second it was daytime, and then all of a sudden it was so dark I couldn't even find the house.
Soon after, the family begins to experience contamination. Their son Jack becomes obsessed with the well, witnessing bizarre plant growth and insects while claiming he talked with a mysterious entity within.
What are you doing? Shh. It's talking to me. Who's talking to you? The man in the well.
Meanwhile, Lavinia repeatedly tries to contact Nathan to no avail. By the way, don't miss a single bone-crushing upload. Hit that subscribe button, unleash the horrors, and become a member of the WWH universe. We're not just wrestling with horror. We're delivering it to your screen every week. Upon their return, Nathan erupts in uncharacteristic anger towards Benny and Lavinia after seeing the alpacas are back in the yard somehow.
They should have been put back in the barn hours ago. You haven't even fed them yet, have you?
Dad, I tried, but...
What do you mean, you tried? Do you have any idea how much those animals cost us?
As if these troubles weren't enough, the crops wither, plunging the family into deeper crisis. Following all of this chaos, Lavinia resorts to a desperate ritual utilizing a copy of the Necronomicon and offering her own blood to protect her family, resulting in a self-mutilation. Meanwhile, Teresa rushes to the aid of Jack and Benny, who are screaming from the alpaca stables, only to encounter the ominous presence of the color outside. A bolt of it strikes, fusing Teresa and Jack into this grotesque amalgamation.
Let's take them in the house.
With all electronic devices rendered useless, the family finds themselves isolated. Nathan and the family carry the fused duo into the attic to shield them from the harmful sunlight. Benny grimly reveals the fate of the mutated alpacas, prompting Nathan to end their suffering with a shotgun. Nathan, teetering on the brink of insanity, contemplates euthanizing Teresa and Jack, but finds himself unable to follow through. Lavinia and Benny make a desperate attempt to escape the farm on horseback, but their horse bolts away, leaving them stranded. Benny then becomes convinced he hears the family dog inside the well. Despite Lavinia's protests, Benny climbs in and becomes absorbed by the color. Nathan, finally consumed by all of the madness induced by the color, confines Lavinia to the attic with the monstrous Teresa and Jack, who attack her. Meanwhile, Ward and the sheriff return to the farm following reports of a grotesque amalgamation of animals nearby. They arrive just in time to rescue Lavinia by breaking into the attic. Nathan, now seeing his transformed family as monsters, fatally shoots them. As the color emerges from the well, Ward swiftly escorts Lavinia outside while Nathan tries to shoot at it. Tragically, the sheriff misinterprets Nathan's actions and fatally shoots him, mistaking him as a threat against Ward. Ward! Despite the chaos, Lavinia insists on staying with her father. Ward and the sheriff depart to evacuate Ezra. However, upon reaching Ezra's home, they only discover his desiccated remains and a chilling recording wherein Ezra speculates about the color's intentions to transform Earth into a semblance of its origin. As they make their way back to the farmhouse, a mutated tree fatally strikes down the sheriff, further escalating the nightmarish ordeal. Returning to rescue Lavinia, Ward is horrified to find her completely overtaken by the color, her eyes ablaze with its otherworldly power. Suddenly, the color erupts from the well, swirling into the sky in a mesmerizing funnel. In a surreal moment, Ward is granted a glimpse into the alien realm from which the color originates, a psychedelic exoplanet teeming with tentacled entities. But before he can comprehend the vision, Lavinia disintegrates before his eyes, consumed by the very force she tried to harness. As the fabric of space and time begin to unravel, Ward flees into the farmhouse, pursued by a spectral manifestation of Nathan, driven by madness. With nowhere else to turn, Ward seeks refuge in the wine cellar, barricading himself as reality itself warps and twists around him. The color's influence distorts the farmhouse beyond recognition, leaving only devastation in its wake. Emerging from the wreckage, Ward stands alone amidst the desolate farmland, now transformed into a colorless, ashen wasteland, a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos that once engulfed it. As he surveys the barren landscape, he realizes he is the sole survivor of the cataclysmic events that have unfolded, leaving him to contemplate the haunting aftermath of the color's unfathomable power. In a haunting epilogue, Ward stands atop the completed dam that now blankets the once thriving Gardner property. His expression etched with trauma, he reflects on the harrowing events he has witnessed. Amidst the serene backdrop of the dam's construction, Ward's voice trembles as he narrates the chilling realization that his experience with the color has forever altered his perception. With a solemn vow, he declares that he will never dare to drink from the waters of the dam, knowing all too well the insidious power that lurks beneath its surface.
I'll never drink it.
And that is where the film ends. Color Out of Space was made on a modest budget of around $12 million, which is a testament to the absolute beauty of this film. It initially premiered at the Toronto Film Festival in 2019 and then was screened at Fantastic Fest less than a month later. It was then shown in 81 theaters across the US in January of 2020. Between the box office and selling the rights, it made about $1 million in total. Financially, it may not have been a huge success, but critically, it was received very well, garnering praise from several critics, boasting an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Alright, we will get to the next portion of our show in just a minute, but first we do have to take a short break, so stick around for more WWH action. If you're looking to save 20% off of your order from Redcon One, I have a deal for you. All you have to do is type in code AndrewDreamer12 when you're checking out, and you will receive 20% off your order. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/AndrewDreamer to check out some of my merchandise as well. And head over to Patreon, consider becoming a member of the WWH universe. There's a lot of really cool perks, and we would love to have you. We're back. Don't drink the water. We're heading back down to the ring for the positives. This movie to me is like the quintessential Nicolas Cage performance. He brings all of the intensity, and I do mean all of it. He perfectly captures the descent into madness, and there are some genuinely funny lines of dialogue in there as well. It's completely over the top, but it works within the context of all of the other ridiculousness going on in this film. And it makes it so much better. This film is loaded with amazing visual effects, particularly in depicting the otherworldly phenomena associated with the color from outer space. The amalgamations also look really good. I really appreciate the filmmaker's ability to create a sense of cosmic horror and unease, staying true to the spirit of H.P. Lovecraft's original story. I feel like a lot of things get lost when making a movie like this, but they did a really good job here. And lastly, the cinematography is beautiful. This film is shot in a way that enhances the visual effects and the atmosphere of the film. Everything works cohesively to create this world being overtaken by a color. Alright, let's switch gears and look at the negatives now. Some of the dialogue is a little overdramatic or cliched. It takes a certain kind of actor to deliver dialogue like this, so sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. That's why it works for Nicolas Cage in this movie. I don't mean that as an insult to the other actors in the movie, just that the dialogue isn't necessarily written the best. And we don't get a lot of development in the side characters, focusing more on the main family. So, the next couple things I'm going to mention aren't necessarily issues I have with the film. They're just issues that I think might be a turnoff for other people. Issues like the pacing, the clarity of the narrative, or the shifts in tone. I completely understand why these things would annoy people. They can make the story hard to follow and understand at times. It can be jarring to an extent. But I think if you understand that a lot of this is by design, because that's just how Lovecraft wrote his stories, then you can find more enjoyment in the overall story. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Color Out of Space is more than the sum of its parts. I really enjoy the movie. It's one that I watched with my brother originally, and when we watch movies together, we analyze every aspect of it. It's really fun, and it makes it so much more enjoyable for me. But that is going to wrap up this episode of Ringside Review. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this movie, or let me know any other movie you want to see me cover here on the channel. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more coming your way very soon, but until then, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.